Okay, well, we shouldn't be live. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, we're on.
Are we live?
Yep, I believe so. Is that working? Are we all on? Let's see. It was... Okay.
Hi guys, on, evening. Can you hear us all right?
Oh, okay, look, we're live now. Yes, are we on? Can you hear us? Does everyone can hear us? Hello, made it. Morning from Chicago.
I would say putting that there is not the best place,
Okay,
Dan.
how about I put it over here? How's that? Is that better?
Yes. Okay,
We've made it.
we have. All right, welcome to VCQ, everybody. There's new rules for VCQ, which will become apparent as we go through the show. Anyone commenting from now until 20 minutes time, we're not going to see those comments. So don't bother. The reason is we should also welcome BV, who is moderating for us today.
Hey, BV.
Because we had some idiots last time. So
They ruin it for everyone.
I don't know. Anyway, so what we're going to do, the first 20 minutes, we're going to do in more serious fashion, because a lot of people have said really like the original format of VCQ, where you actually answer questions that people have posted on the video. So that's what we're going to do. So Dan's going to stop looking at the screen.
So I'm going to hide the chat is what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
right now,
so
look,
we're not looking at the
I'm
screen
hiding the chat.
until 5:20.
Hidden.
Okay.
Hidden.
Yeah. Hopefully Catherine is watching this, and if Catherine is watching this and something calamitous happens, you can come in and tell us. Right.
Let me just make sure. Sorry, I'm just going to try the chat just to make sure everyone can hear us. If you can hear us, just say, hey, we can hear you. We can hear you well this time. Wonderful.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks to Fraser for setting up the Apollo 8P so that it can output to the IK Multimedia iRig, so that can go into Dan's phone. So it means we can use our lovely voice microphones that are here.
Perfect. Right.
VCQ, 16th of December 2019. This is about the show on Friday, which was to do with effects order. Whether you should put your, or not should, whether you can put your reverbs and delays and modulation effects before or after overdrive. Comme ça. It was really interesting. I discovered something that's going to stay with me for the foreseeable future. Anyway, so let's get to it then. Rob Barstow and Sama Bata, among many others, said they really enjoyed this show because it felt like TPS back to its roots, doing what TPS does best. Talking about effects pedals.
I heard a wonderful interview with Paul Hester, the late great Paul Hester. Yeah. He said, you can't forget your roots. He said, never forget your roots. He said, God knows, I remember all of mine. Paul Hester, amazing. The drummer from Crowded House, amazing gentleman.
Yes.
So yes, roots, very important.
Yeah, okay, so we appreciate that. By the way, anyone just tuning in, we're not answering or looking at any comments until 20 minutes.
If you're commenting, we can't see you.
Gatlin JB says, gents, please record that very tasteful intro riffing by Sir Dan and utilise the entire 128 musical snippet for your 2020 musical intro for webcast viewing going forward. It'd be remarkable for the new decade and shows maturity and sophistication.
Ooh!
Maturity and sophistication.
Never been called that before.
And then Gatlin JB wants our views on that.
That's very kind. Thank you. Ah, boy. I am recording something this year, and I believe you will too at some point, Sunshine. Because there's tunes there.
There's music in me that's just gotta get out.
There is. But thank you, that's very kind. Samuel Go Lightly says, real question, is there anything Dan doesn't love? I'm an enthusiast.
It is true. Dan loves everything. Dan loves everything for the first period of time, and then we get the cooling off, and then we decide whether he really loves it.
Right.
Is that, sorry, mate, to do this to
That's
you
fine.
live,
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Connor Ivanov, please get a Tweed Bassman on the show. Yes.
Great
It
idea.
is a shocking omission
Oversight.
that we don't have more Tweed amps. So, yeah. By the way, if you're just tuning in, we're not looking at the comments until 20 minutes, okay? Until 5:20 GMT. 20 past whatever hour it is now. Philippe Spectral. Should I place my guitar before or after my amp?
Very good.
I said
Very
it
good.
depends on the guitar. Some guitars sound best to me under the amp.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah.
Ian Goings, I loved the inclusion of humbuckers this week, but what happened to the Ibanez?
It's up there.
It's up there.
The Gem Junior or whatever it's called. It's sub up
The
there.
Gem
I
in.
can't even get it off the wall.
Yeah.
If
It is
anyone-
there.
If anyone wants to buy that guitar, Dan and I will sign it and send it to you. We're never going to play it, are we? No. It's not because it's not a good guitar or anything. It's just I just don't know how to engage with guitars like that.
No.
I can't get any music out of them.
I can do that thing. With
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Actually, I met a very lovely guy at one of our TPS Live events earlier in the year who's a great Gem enthusiast. And he said, God, every time you have a go at the Gem, it sticks a knife in my heart. And I was like, no. We're just saying that we can't play them. It's our failing, not the guitar.
sure, absolutely.
Isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Kim Biwa.
Kim Biwa, my name is Elliot. Am I correct that the reason the chorus sounds less strident into the overdrive, or gain generally, is due to the inherent compression created by the gain device, be it an OD or a fuzz, which essentially softens the sonic peaks of the chorusing tones, i.e. like running a chorus into an actual compressor?
I couldn't have put it better.
Really?
No, it's exactly what it is.
Okay.
So you've got you the way that your overdrive. If you think of the waveform or whatever going on with those transients, it is softening them. It's not it's taking the edge off and creating overdrive, and that is basically limiting. And when if you think of the chorus and a clean sound, you add some chorus and it creates all those lovely harmonics. Well, those harmonics are going through the limiting of the overdrive pedal, and that's what happens. So, and in some circumstances, it sounds like that sound becomes more integrated as part of the gain tone.
Right.
So having phases in front of your gain. So you think of Eddie Van Halen. His phases into that cranked Marshall. Well, that's what's going on there.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. You put your phaser or modulation before the overdrive section.
Yeah.
You put it after, and all the harmonics that are created then by the gain stage are then going to be processed by the extra stuff that's going on with the modulation stuff. So that's a very good comment.
Yeah.
Well done, well played.
I also want to mention David Backhouse, who made that point about harmonics as well in one of the replies. So
Yeah,
thank
very
you,
good.
David.
James Skaggs says, you didn't address the main reason for running delay after overdrive, running delay and reverb after overdrive. It's about using the same settings for clean and dirty. Having a delay set for your clean sound before OD will result in having too much delay when you engage the OD. And if you set the delay to work with the OD when you turn it off, the delay will be barely noticeable. I would say there are certain delays for in front of the ODs and certain delays for after the ODs.
But I think he's right in the delay level has a different
absolutely.
effect.
Yep,
And this is a huge problem with amp effects loops.
that's right.
So when you go from the clean channel to the dirty channel in an amp, and all of a sudden your delay gets 3 times louder, depending on where that effects loop is placed in that circuit, it's one of the many, many, many reasons we don't use effects loops.
Sure.
Or if you do use an effects loop, you've got to really think about it and get your levels right. But yeah, I've been messing about with this. I've put my Belly Pop Deluxe in front of my first overdrive stage.
Oh,
We did some of it today. You can hear it on January the 3rd when Dan and I will do a New Year show.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year! But in order to make that work, I have to have an expression pedal to control the delay level so that it doesn't overpower, so you can get just the right amount.
Yeah.
And I'm a real convert to using delay in that way.
It's a very good thing.
If,
yes,
if you've just tuned in, we're not answering. We're not even looking at the live comment feed until 20 minutes past whatever hour it is now. For reasons that will become apparent.
Okay.
Alec Hawley. I thought I had a pretty solid mental inventory of all the amps you guys have, but I can't seem to identify the one on the shelf next to the high watt behind Dan. Okay, this is a Hughes & Kettner Pure Tone, and it's unlike any other Hughes & Kettner amp I've ever played, given that it's basically a hand-wired 50-watt plexi.
Yep. It's one of the loudest amps I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's we should plug it in one day. It's I was quite addicted to it at one point, and then I just couldn't deal with the volume. That's me saying that, owner of a 100-watt 2-rock. So...
Great sound, though.
That's a killer sound.
Yep,
you've got to kick it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's called a Hughes & Kettner Pure Tone. Tone.
Right. Carl Longbottom says, hi, Mick and Dan.
Keep everyone entertained, Dan.
Okay. Carl Longbottom is a guitar builder, and bless him, he sent us a couple of guitars to try out. And he's just wondering if we'd had a chance to try the guitars. And we have indeed. We have them out in our, what do you call it? The office area. Yeah, they're great. They're really good. Mick is just, he's gone off to get them. He's coming post haste forthwith. Here he is. Okay. Yeah, here they are.
Dan's not talking.
I was talking right after that point.
Yeah, so Carl, thank you. Carl's based in the north of England somewhere and is a joiner by trade, I think, or carpenter. Right. And he sent us these guitars kind of unannounced. And my natural reaction when anyone sends us anything unannounced is... because...
Spell that?
Just because we have so much stuff and getting to stuff is difficult. Anyway, we should give Carl a shout out and we should play these guitars. And he said he's done some specs that are kind of unusual. And I don't know what they are.
Right.
This one's got a lovely meaty neck.
Right. Nice.
But yeah, cool. Peanut in the bridge by the looks of things.
Yeah.
That's a T-Star with some body chamfering. And
yeah.
So yeah, Carl, thank you. And I apologise profusely for not getting to them sooner. Everyone who comes in the office says they play really nice, actually.
They're great. Yeah, lovely. Lovely.
I'm just going to balance this one precariously somewhere where it might fall over.
Right.
Falling over there.
Yes. So thank you very much, Carl. That's ace.
Yes.
Right. John Reed. Apologies for the dumb and slightly off-topic question, but the Bell Epoch on the board reminds me that I don't understand the difference between echo and delay. Are they two words for the same thing? And as a follow-up, is the sound in REM's big bang and blame an echo? I love the show. Huge fan. Cheers from Reno, Nevada.
I'd love to go to Reno.
Oh, man.
Isn't Reno like Vegas but greasier?
Reno. Oh.
The Boss Gags, was it?
Yeah.
Anyone just tuning in, we're not answering any, we're not even looking at the live feed comments until 20 past the hour, okay? Which might run to 25 past at this point. So John's first question, are echo and delay the same thing, Dan?
Yes. Yes.
And why do we say echo?
We say echo, I think it was commonly used to describe sounds of slapback delays.
Shorter, isn't it?
Shorter
delay times, yeah.
If you're in a space and you hear that come back, if you go, hello, hello, hello,
we might
call that
be
an
in
echo.
Space one day.
Mick and Dan in space. There's a show.
Oh, what rig did you take to the space station?
Yeah, so we call that echo, but it is a delay. It is simply the sound delayed.
And the second question, the sound in REM's Bang and Blame, is it an echo? Yes, it is. I had a very brief listen to that. It sounds like a quarter note delay to me. So if the time of the music is that 4 beats to the bar, you would tap and that's what the delay's doing.
Right.
So, yeah, there's sounds like there's a lot of repeats, like maybe 7 or 8 repeats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a really cool sound actually.
Nice.
Peter Buck. I can't honk him because I've never met him. Really inventive, brilliant textural guitar player in my opinion. Rory Steele. I run a simple pedal board. I have a True Tone clean boost, a TR2 and a brand new Dunlop wah, a DD3 and a tuner. What would be the best way to order them? Okay, boost, tremolo, wah, delay, tuner. Wah first, would you say, Dan?
Yeah.
I'd go boost second.
Yep.
I'd go tuner third.
Right.
Delay,
and then tremolo.
Perfect. Does that work?
Magic.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go.
Sorry if you have to watch that again.
Lovely.
Why do we put the tuner after the gain stages?
Because the tuner inevitably loads the signal, but if you put it after the gain stages, then those pedals will drive it. Will send a low impedance signal to that. Will drive it. Yeah.
What I also like is if you put the tuner after your drive stages, if you leave your overdrive pedals turned on and they're going through your amp, when you turn the tuner on, it stops all that.
Right. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. Stephen Reynolds. I put my chorus after my drives.
Yep.
But my phaser before my drives.
Lovely.
I find everything gets too muddy with the phaser afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
You like flanger before overdrive, don't you?
I do, but it depends on the flanger.
Right.
And depends on the overdrive. I think we've done a show on this, and it doesn't just come down to the modulation type. It comes down to the pedal type.
Yeah.
And the sort of frequencies that those things are kicking out.
It's a rabbit hole.
It is a rabbit hole, but you've got to try them. Try these things. Get your hands dirty.
And low to Stephen's question, which is, does anyone know of a good ambient reverb with a phaser just on the trails, or a reverb with an effects loop that you can put another pedal in? This is a great thing to do with delays. If you have a delay pedal with a loop in it, and you can stick like a phaser or a flanger or whatever,
or another delay.
Yeah.
It's killer.
So yeah,
Strymon. What's the big one? The Big Sky. That's got a loop in it. Top of my head, something else that has a loop in it.
Does the smaller one have a loop in it?
I don't believe so. I know the big one does.
Oh, interesting. I would have thought the Empress would have done, but it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good question. Really
yeah, very good question.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a look into that, because that's yeah, great. Does the
I don't think the Big Sky does either.
Really? It must do. Show me. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, I stand corrected.
But this does this?
That does.
Oh, that's got send and return on the.
Yeah, you can either have stereo or you can swap it.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if the latest version of this has as well. Maybe.
I don't know.
Who
Don't know.
knows?
Very good question.
Yeah.
Does the? I think the workstation, the Keeley workstation, has a mode where there's phaser on the.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
There's also a Keeley Vibreverb.
Right.
Search for Stephen. Look for the Keeley Vibreverb. I've got one somewhere. And that has various reverbs that have got things like harmonic trem.
Yeah.
Maybe it might even be a phaser.
Right.
Check that out.
Yeah.
Check that out. Right, okay, that's the end of the questions pretty much. There actually genuinely weren't that many questions on this week's video. So, on to more. We will start picking up the comments in about 2 minutes. On to more serious matters.
Right.
Two fairly serious moans this week.
Heavens to Betsy.
Dan, Braff Westclout and Patrick Fitzgerald said this too. Hi guys, sorry to be a downer, but I really don't think the VCQ thing is working with the live stream. It seems like Dan's just looking down the whole time.
Down as in sad or down as in?
I think physically down.
Physically down.
At the screen.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you're happy enough.
I am happy enough.
Yeah. Mostly announcing the paid for, more humorous comments from people. There's no sense that good questions that could benefit for us all are being culled and addressed in a thoughtful way. The other way was so much better. I don't like complaining about free content, but you guys kind of stepped in it, so to speak, by doing it one way, then changing it to an inferior way. That's my 2 cents.
Okay.
Thank you. So, Braff, I think you're right. And I think what we've decided to do is do it this way, where we'll do the first section, which are structured, answered questions.
You're right. I was less right. Yes. First half, like we've just done, structured. I think that works really well.
Yeah. So hopefully everyone gets a little bit of what they want, and then we'll do the live thing. The reason we do the live thing is because there's a great deal of editing, production involved in filming the show, doing the audio, editing it, getting it posted, and that takes me like a good half a day. And I'm at a point in my life where losing half a day at the moment is really tough. So all of our efforts have got to go into the main shows.
Because we want to do the main shows, we want to do the vloggy things.
Yeah.
That's where we think you guys are going to get the most benefit.
Yeah.
So this...
It's just a question of resources.
Exactly.
Is the absolute truth. And that leads on to... I don't know if I'm going to name you or not. Maybe I won't name you. An honest opinion for you to consider. The special edition stuff is starting to take on the barest aroma of marketing shivs to inmates. If you don't know what a shiv is, it's a knife. The D&M drive, the Rattler, a camouflage, and now another D&M. It's great gear, but it's getting costly to keep up. Sorry, I had to tap out on this one if I want there to be $10 left for you in January.
So this is from a patron.
From a patron, yeah.
Yes.
But if you are going to continue to sell special limited things, it might be a mistake to bypass patrons. Anyway, something to think about or disregard as you see fit. This was, when people write us feedback like that, I kind of, it genuinely, I don't like that people don't feel great about what we do on the show. But the fact is, and I think it's worth addressing at this point in time.
Yes.
TPS does not take any money from any manufacturer to feature any gear. We never have, and we never will, right?
From day one.
Because I don't want to criticize anyone who does do that, and the fact is that most other YouTube channels do. Which is fine. If that's your business model and that's what you want to do and that's the way it works, then it's not up to me and Dan to be critical of that. However, the whole point of TPS was me and Dan doing exactly what we wanted, nothing else, all the time.
Yep.
So no commercial influence, no having to engage with gear we don't like, just literally doing our own thing. And the way we have to do that is we have to sell merchandise, T-shirts, and we are immensely grateful to the person who commented for being a patron.
Yes.
Buying merch and buying pedals. We are massively grateful because it genuinely pays for this room, for the light, the heat, the editing, the production, and all of that. And I don't want to... If it all stopped tomorrow and everybody stopped buying merch and Patreon dried up and the preferred retailers said, nah, we don't like you anymore, Dan and I would find a cupboard somewhere and we'd carry on doing it.
We would.
Is the truth.
The thing is, because we were doing this anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
But the fact is, the fact that we do raise money by special edition pedals, by selling merch, by doing all of that stuff, means that we've been able to get to this.
Yes, it keeps the show going. It means that we can do more interesting things as well.
Yeah.
So
do it to a level that that we're really proud of. So
all of just to reiterate that point, that all of the content on the show is stuff that we want to do, and there is no other influence. That's it. So, but when a new pedal comes out, if it's interesting, and
we got offered something. We got offered the world exclusive on something just recently from a manufacturer. Said, "Do you want to do this as a world exclusive?" And we were like, "No."
Yeah.
Because it wasn't really in our
wheelhouse.
It wasn't in our area of. Because of course, what does that manufacturer get out of that? They get a crap load of money can't buy marketing and all the rest of it. So, and right, down to earth. Number one, I am not moaning about having to produce the show.
No.
Because we love it. It is amazing.
It's an honour.
Two, we are extremely grateful for anyone that buys a T-shirt. Any other way that helps fund this show.
My daughter's music teacher, I had no idea. But we had a parents-teacher thing the other day, and really lovely guy. And my daughter says to me after, "Oh, he's a fan of the show. He's bought merch." Like, it blows my mind. It blows my mind.
All over the world, don't we? All the time.
It's incredible.
It is incredible, and we are amazingly grateful.
Yep.
And I guess the slightly sticky extension to that is, for sure, we would like that pedal show to be a business.
Yeah.
To be a profit-making business, so that
it'd be amazing.
All the other well, Dan's never going to give up the gig rig, but you know, the other stuff that we do can help pay us to do all this stuff. So it's not like the world's most altruistic.
Sure. Oh, I was trying to remember that word the other day.
Yeah.
It failed me. Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
But at the same time, you know, we're hardly PewDiePie or those gamers that make like squillions for featuring a game.
Yeah.
We won't do that. We'll never take any money off manufacturers. So that was a rather long-winded answer to saying to you, and thank you for your comment. We will continue to do stuff. You don't have to buy it.
Yeah.
No one has to do anything. The show is always free to watch on YouTube. We will never change that unless YouTube changes something, but that doesn't feel like it's coming anytime soon. You don't have to buy stuff. You don't have to buy merch. You can just watch and enjoy. But anyone who feels so inclined to do so helps us greatly.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
When we put a special edition pedal up for sale, it blows our mind that people are so inclined to go and get that stuff. You know, it is amazing. And, you know.
And I get to underline it, when Dan finally hands over the cash for that guitar, that will come out of his pocket, not out of that pedal show's pocket.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We're not like kind of champagning ourselves.
There we go.
Anyway, it sounds like I'm defending it now. I think it's really important at this point in time when there's so much controversy about paid marketing.
Yeah.
In fact, just this morning I read a Forbes article saying that influencer marketing is on the wane. I was like, really? I think it's just getting going. But anyway.
I think they'd like it to be on the wane.
They would love it to
be. It was written by their ad department.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, I think we're ready to let's
go.
Open the chat.
How much kicking we get for all of that then?
Let's see. No, I think let's see.
You guys suck. You just in it for the money.
Okay.
If only.
Right, so
where do we start?
Boy, I don't know.
You need to start from now.
So let's start from now. Okay.
Somebody just bought something.
Oh, bless you. Right. Okay.
See, this is where it all goes wrong.
It is. So we do have super chat turned on, but I'm going to try and keep it balanced.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So first comment from Alan Tucker has gone on to super chat. It says, any obvious tips for eliminating noise in a complicated rig? Keep up the silly challenges, making cool special edition stuff. There's a reason it sells minutes. Bless you, Alan. Thank you very much. Okay.
There is a fantastic challenge coming this Friday.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Okay. For eliminating noise, before you get into noise filters and suppressors and stuff, the best thing to do is always eliminate it at source. All right. It's a process of elimination. If you've got a really noisy rig, you need to go back to the start and plug one thing in at a time. And then if you find that it's just a gradual build up of level as you plug more and more and more things in, then you can look at things like loop switches that'll take things out of the signal when they're not being used. But if you're using really, really high gain, that in itself is inherently noisy, then you might need something like a noise suppressor. However, eliminate it at source. If you've got one of the things that I do sort of instinctively now, if you're using a single coil guitar, there will generally be a spot in in a 180 degree field where you get less noise. So I'm constantly sort of moving. If I've got noise, I'll be moving the guitar around to find that spot where I don't get noise. Most important thing, however, if you're going to get rid of noise at source, is your power supply.
Yeah.
So make sure, don't skimp on your power supply. All right. It's one of those things that it's so functionary and it's so boring. There's nothing sexy about a power supply.
It's a reluctant purchase.
It is. But if you get a good one, you will be. It'll pay for itself in. They just don't skimp there.
Isolate your pedals. Turn your gain off when you're not using it.
There you go. Boom.
David van der Golk. Could you do a show on terminology? For instance, what is presence? What does it actually mean? Why is gain different from volume? What does one gain do apart from another? So
I like that. Show terminology.
That's a great idea, David.
Yep.
Thank you.
And we can do buzz terms as well. A friend of mine said, I've got this overdrive pedal. Sounds really greasy. I thought, okay, that'd be a really interesting thing to try and explain. So yeah, great.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Andy Smith, how do you feel about John Frusciante rejoining the Chili Peppers?
I think there comes a time in every band where John Frusciante will eventually join that band.
Yeah. Love Frusciante. I mean,
he's amazing. You were playing some of his stuff before, actually.
The playing on Blood Sugar Sex Magik definitely was one of the key things that got me interested in Jimi Hendrix.
Really?
It woke me up to Jimi Hendrix.
Wow.
Some of the playing on that record. And I loved his playing on that, but I don't know. Do the Chili Peppers need to make any more records?
Can you do the quote?
Nick Cave. Nick Cave's famous quote. I'm constantly asking, what is this garbage? And the answer is always the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers, by the way. I think Californication is kind of maybe where I stopped loving them. But
right. Yeah, Blood Sugar Sex Magik.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's my Red Hot Chili Peppers impression. James Motherley, hello James. Dan looked fairly unimpressed by the Vox AC15 and Fender Hot Rod Deluxe last week. Did you warm to it though? Thanks for using my rig.
No, not unimpressed at all. I think they're great. We're spoiled. I have my dream amplifier sort of sat behind me at the moment, and when I hear Mick's 2-Rock, it's sort of easily one of the best guitar sounds I've ever heard in my life. So when you put the Vox and the Hot Rod, they're fantastic amplifiers. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. They're great.
Complementary too.
Very complimentary. They sound great together.
I said this many times. I'll say it again. I'm always ecstatically happy if there's a Hot Rod Deluxe to use. Logan,
I've never been to a gig and seen someone with a Hot Rod Deluxe and I thought it sounded bad. They've always sounded great. Always sounded great.
Yeah, it's a live amp, isn't it? It's got that. Somebody was commenting how much they really hate the sort of 3 to 4K kick in it, but that's what makes it work live.
Sure. Yep.
Logan Patterson says, non-gear related question. What's your preferred coffee? My favourite is King's Coast here in the US. Cheers from Mississippi.
Black decaf, brown sadness water, commonly referred to.
Fraser's a massive coffee dude. He spends like times his drip and all of that. We buy an espresso because it's easy and quick. So apologies to all the coffee freaks out there who will hate an espresso. Joe Brennan, hi Joe. Any idea when we're getting Rabea on the show? Blimey, we bump into Rabea 4 or 5 times a year, maybe more, and we go, "Oh, come on the show." He's like, "Yeah, great," and then, man, he is so busy.
Yeah, but we love Rabea. Rabea is one of the best people on the planet. Love that guy to bits, and we'll always welcome, and we'll get him on as soon as we can.
Robin, is headroom dependent to wattage? I mean, can a 5-watt clean tube amp have more headroom than, for example, a 15-watt Orange Tiny Terror, which is also a tube amp? But
it can.
I tell you what, the amp that we should get out one day is your 1959 AC10. I have never heard a 10-watt amp with so much headroom.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
So it comes down to the way that you classify the wattage. Most of the, certainly in the valve amp thing. They classify it by clean headroom. With a lot of the solid state stuff, there's a rating called PMPO, which is peak music power output, which is when it's absolutely cranked. You know, when you walk into the stereo store and you see it says 200 watts power,
yeah,
and that, you know, that is if you're hitting the signal with 100 watts of power and it's completely dying, and just before it dies, it peaks. So it all depends on how you classify how you rate that power. But traditionally, a valve amplifier has been clean, like before any overdrive, the clean headroom. So it is quite common for a 5-watt valve amplifier to have more headroom than a 15-watt solid state.
We should
device.
find a way of doing a show on it because it is really confusing.
Sure, that's a really interesting idea. Okay.
Yeah. Peter Jessup, Dan, how are you getting on with the Zoya?
I haven't touched it since the show.
Fraser's got it.
Yeah.
He's getting on brilliantly with it.
Yeah, he's just making magic.
Okay, I'm going to go down a bit.
Okay.
Brad Baldwin. John Mayer said he was going to drop in on you guys. When is that going down? if John Mayer said that,
he keeps calling.
I will eat my hat.
Could you imagine?
Good, yeah. Yeah. Ryan Goodman, would you ever talk about different tubes, specifically trying different preamp tubes?
John Mayer Plumbing.
12AY7 versus 12AX7.
Sure.
It's kind of interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting. An interesting thing like the EF86 valve that I love is a massive high gain valve, but it's just the best, I find it the best pedal platform valve front end. 12AY7, 12AT7, 12AX7.
Yeah.
You know, all different gain ratings.
And there's so much, a bit like when we had Josh Scott on the show and he was talking about you can't just talk about transistors in a pedal, you have to talk about the whole design. And it's the same with amps, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, swapping a 12AX7 for a 12AY7 isn't going to have the same result in all amps.
Yeah.
Question from, now I apologise because I believe this is an Irish name. It's Tad Leahy, which is probably like Steve Smith in Irish spelling. And I apologise if I've said that wrong. Tad Leahy. D&M Drive question. How do you guys personally use it? I love mine. Thank you.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. Right, so I have the gain set not crazy high, about there. I have the drive first, followed by the boost. I'll use the boost to colour. So as opposed to giving it more output, I'll set it up so it's unity, so that I've got two different colours of drive. So when I kick the boost, and it's more mid-focused.
Yep.
And then I take it off, it's a bit more scoopy. Drive first going into boost.
Yeah, I also do drive first going into boost. I probably run mine gainier than Dan. Probably, certainly, I don't know, something like that maybe.
Nice.
I don't. Actually, the drive and gain settings aren't that far off, but the volumes would be much lower. For anyone who doesn't know, I always say every pedal sounds best with all the knobs turned to 2 o'clock.
I saw the pictures of the stealth, everything at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. Right, you can have a go at this in a minute if you like.
Okay.
Jesus86 we saw Big Wreck the other night. Amazing.
Oh,
Any chance of getting Ian Thornley over?
Yes, please.
Clearly, there's an open door policy to touring musicians of Ian's calibre and not of Ian's calibre. It's just whether they can make it here and on their busy schedules. I filmed a video of him at Anderton's once.
Right.
I was literally sat there mesmerised.
He's incredible.
He's one of the few very high, what I would call high gain players, high gain wet players.
Right.
With loads of that I find engaging.
Sure.
His pick attack and his note definition still comes out through all that gain and delay and everything. Oh, what a great player he is.
Yeah.
Slide player, man. He can really play slide.
Wow.
Yeah. Gary Filthy. Yeah, it is Gary Filthy. Hi guys, great show. Could you please explain unity gain and how to achieve it? I have 4 different types of distortion, and levels can change dramatically when adding and subtracting pedals. Yeah, great question.
So unity gain is about setting things up so it's the same volume, but it can be challenging when the frequency response is vastly different from one to the other. So what I try and do, what works for me...
Thank you, D-Dub.
Thank you, D-Dub. Is I listen for the lower frequency content, and I try and match, because generally what happens is, let's say I've got a pedal that's all mids, right? And I've got another pedal that's all top and all bottom, but no mids. It can be hard to match those up volume-wise. So I try and get the same volume for the lower end content.
Yeah.
And if I match that up, generally that works in a live situation.
Interesting. The problem I always have is my approach has always been loud, louder, and loudest.
Yes.
And that comes from the days of using Mark III boogies, where you'd have three modes basically: loud, louder, and loudest, which is how everyone should play the electric guitar. However, that was within a sort of given genre. So if you needed a high gain sound quietly to sort of sit behind a verse or something, I've always struggled with that, because I find I need to have just a separate pedal for that's set lower, and I only use it for that low,
right?
And then it doesn't get used for anything else.
Sure.
Because trying to get more volume then is borderline impossible.
Yeah.
Because it's already, then you're just too loud for the singer. And if you turn the volume down on the guitar, it cleans up too much.
Sure.
So yeah, I hear that. Matt Scott, have you ever used something like the Furman voltage regulator, keeping the guitar amp at a constant voltage, and how it can affect the tone of the amp if it's not run at that constant voltage?
So it's very interesting. If you think of the wild swings and voltages that can come from the wall, if you think of the difference it makes if you go plus or minus 5% with a bias on your amplifier, that's if your guitar's amp's supposed to be plugged into 240 and it's seeing 230 volts, or 245, there's a big difference there, and that will affect the way that the bias works. So it's a really great way to keep the amplifier consistent. Having a voltage
regulating the voltage, because it can, depending on where you are in the world. To be fair, the UK is pretty good these days. Good. Used to be, I can remember it not being good, but it's pretty good. So you're never going to get a massive swing. Although I have heard people say, some places it might be 225, some places it might be nearly 250.
Yeah,
which is a massive swing.
Massive.
So, yeah, I've never tried it. Rory McLennan, what is Mick's watch? Rory, this is a Citizen Grand Touring. It's automatic, and it's on a what do you call that? A Zulu strap. My wife bought it for me, and I love it dearly. I would like a Panerai one day, but if I had enough money for a Panerai, I'd buy more vintage Strats. On the subject of which, somebody is saying, "Can Mick please do the Strat video?" Who is it? Oh God! Now I'm doing a Dan thing. Someone said, "Could I please do the Strats video?" It's my first job for next year because having the 61 now, although it's on loan, it's really put some sense into that whole debate. Yep. So I'm really looking forward to getting into it. We recorded a video last week that will come out in 2 weeks' time, which is me and Dan playing through our absolute ultimate rigs. And the difference between that 61 and Blue is scary in a really depressing way. Philippe Spectral. Oh, we've already heard from Philippe, but anyway, seeing as I've started, so I'll finish. It's been a long time since we've not seen a fuzz face. Please do a show on obscure gems like the Wem Pet Box or Astrotones. Yeah, what a great shout. So weird fuzzes. Let's totally do that. Glenn Roberts. Mick, did you sort out a way to get the 61 refin? Glenn Romano. It's not for sale, Glenn. The chap who owns it was given it by his father on the condition that he didn't sell it, so he's very kindly lent it to me. for a long-term loan. So that one's not really for sale, but there will be one day.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
Christopher Powers, I'm confused on what order modulation effects should go in my effects loop.
Watch last week's show.
Yeah.
Just and then try it. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Frankie Holt, Mick, have you tried the Earthquaker Devices Plumes? It's my favourite new Screamer pedal. Yeah, I have. We did the Palisades as well, which was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of... Oh, this is going to be weird. I'm off TSs at the moment.
Wow.
I used the
Good
one...
for you.
I used the one in my Jesse Davey Kingtone Duelist, which is as good a tube screamer as I have ever heard.
Yeah.
Sounds as good as my old Keeley modded 808. I'm liking slightly more aggressive drives at the moment, so I'm using the Klon a lot again. And
But with the gain up.
Yeah, with the gain up a bit.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'm liking the kind of around the edge, which of course is all removed by a tube screamer. So yeah. Do you want to have a look?
Sure.
Hergel Frumpy FX. Hergel Frump FX E. The difference between tinkering and science lies in the documentation of the results. With your videos, you are honorary doctors. I love you.
Very good. Thank you. Lovely.
Ikama 1, Dan, please try to contact Mike Venart. He's such a legend. He would be great on the show.
Yes, I am in contact with Mike. He's a mate, and yes, we'll get him on the show. He's a busy boy, but we'll work out a way to get him on the show.
Malcolm Stewart, you guys should have someone recreate the bridge pickup in Dan's Red Telly. I actually think that's a really good idea. Something special about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. It's quite unusual to see a 63 style telly pickup with the beveled magnets. Normally, everyone assumes all telly bridge pickups are like the flat pole broadcaster or, early telly types, which of course they're not. But it's not massively common, the beveled. And I've spoken to pickup makers saying that beveled edge magnet makes a massive difference.
Ron Ellis was saying that it's it does make a difference.
Is there enough difference between a Les Paul and a 335 to justify both?
Yes.
Or could I get away with rolling the tone back on a Les Paul, says Lloyd Stockman?
No.
Man, they are as different as Strats and Tellys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Clearly there's some crossover.
Yeah, but they're different beasts.
Yeah, I actually find Les Paul's very difficult to play ergonomically because it's too small for me and it sits in the wrong place, whereas the 335 is a bigger guitar.
Sure.
And it sits in a better place for me ergonomically. So, Oisin O'Grady, hello Oisin, and I apologise if I've said your name wrong. Did Mick sell the motorbike and buy the 61 Strat? No, I actually bought a new motorbike and I borrowed the Strat.
Right. You still having your bike?
Oh, I love my bike.
That's great.
I love my bike. John Burkhorst. How about Barber pedals? I think they're awesome.
Yeah, Barber compressor was one of the really early compressors that had the blend knob in it, and the Barber drive.
Yeah, there's a couple of Barber drives I've really liked.
Yeah.
Mark Hammer. Hello, Mark. And Mark, thank you for your continued awesome comments on the show. Mark always throws some sense in
nice.
and some knowledge.
Hammer time.
Mark says, Frank Zappa would often record using his little pig nose amp. It might be interesting to have an episode on how to get interesting and usable sounds out of very small amps with small speakers.
Interesting.
I love this because I am always surprised when we record a little amp and I listen to the audio. When you record these things... In fact, we did it last week, and I listened back to the audio. I'm like, something is lost.
Right.
Whereas with a little amp, it's got the whole room. It's not controlling the room.
Sure.
It's in a space that's appropriate for it, and the
it's
microphone
just tickling the mic as well.
The microphone's sensitive enough to hear. I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
So, yeah. Mick, do you prefer the DGT over the Les Paul? I do. Yeah. There's some sounds that a Les Paul does that cannot be replicated with any other guitar, and I love those sounds to the bottom of my heart. but I just can't play the blooming things. Whereas the DGT is a step into a Strat world because of the vibrato and because of just the way it sits on the body and double cut and everything. It's not the same thing, but it is a good sounding guitar. Yeah. Do you want to have a read of these, Dan?
Sure.
Ty Roberts, what's the best pedal to give someone for Christmas? I think
D&M drive.
It's a D&M drive, yeah, of course it is. It's a Klon, if you can find one. Yeah.
Oh, Ty Roberts says, happy holidays from Colombia. Cheers, Ty. Awesome.
Thank you,
Ty. Okay. Oh, Richie Jones says, Mick, what is your preferred way of wiring your Strat, tone knobs, pickups, etc.?
Well, this is an interesting question that I'll go into on the vlogs in much more detail, but on modern guitars, so on my blue guitar, for example, and the black one, Transit Van, as it's called. So, here you go. For anyone who doesn't know, on a vintage Strat, in this position, this pickup, the only control that works is the volume knob. When you go to this position, for these two pickups, this tone knob here is connected to this pickup. So you can roll the tone back on that in-between position.
Richie Jones has just said, yes, blue.
Blah, blah, blah. However, on more modern Strats, I really like having this tone control wired to this pickup so that you can roll it back to about here, and with a lot of gain, it's a foot in the humbucker camp. But also because a lot of modern Strat pickups are so brash sounding, and not in a good way. You know, like how a Telecaster is brash in the most brilliant way. Like if you think about Red, Dan's guitar, and how amazing that guitar just sounds wide open. It's brash, but it's brash in the most musical way. This guitar doesn't do that. So having the tone pot wired onto the bridge pickup there makes a big difference. However, so then Simon, bless him, lends me this, the 61, and I'm thinking, oh no tone control on the bridge pickup. I don't know how I'm going to get on with this. It's fantastic.
It's magic. It's a magic thing.
I don't care that it's not on there. It just sounds, what I was just saying, it sounds bright and brash, but without being horrible. It's just amazing. So yeah,
sure.
My preference on an old guitar like this, as I've been privileged enough to learn, is that I just like it the old way. It's even got three-way. I don't even miss the five-way switch because I can jam it in there if I need to. And I never use a middle pickup on a Strat. I'm using the middle pickup all the time on this guitar.
Right.
So anyway, so yeah, that's how I like it. And I think we should have a discussion about reverse round, reverse polarity, because I think not RWRP sounds better, but don't tell anyone.
Okay, right. XLR8 in Wales says, Dan, really need your help. Thinking of buying a G2 to use WetDry. No, look, any questions with that stuff, just contact the office and Gig Rig office, and we'll happy go through your rig and get you sorted out. Yeah, no problem. But thank you, XLR8. That's lovely.
But Accelerate wants to go WetDry.
Yes.
The most cost-effective way to do that is to get a humdinger that Dan also makes.
Yes.
And then you can just place that in your signal chain, and that's a really, really great way to go WetDry because you can change the phase, and the second output is transformer isolated. Just to prove that we're not here just to push Dan's stuff, any good ABY switch, such as the full tone true ABY,
they're really good,
will do that job as well. Radial, good value for money too.
Joey Santos says, I'm struggling trying to justify buying all my favourite vintage and new effects pedals versus buying a Line 6 HX effects. Is there any rationale you can help or offer? Happy holidays from Anaheim, California. Well, you're in Anaheim. Come January, just pop down to the show, spend some time down there.
Yeah,
it's really, you know,
you're asking the wrong people. Really.
Yeah, Mick, we had this conversation recently when we tried some of this stuff out, and all I can say is if you sit down with that gear and it does it for you, that is brilliant, and get it and enjoy it. But if you if you sit down with it and you sit down with the real stuff and you think, well, you know, there's a 5% difference there, and if that works for you, great. But for us, we're all about that 5%. You know, we're all about finding that little bit extra.
I would also say that. How much did you pay for that?
Boy, a long time ago, probably $400.
What's it worth now?
Yeah, about the same.
Really?
Well, more.
Yeah.
It's 400 Australian dollars now.
The point I was
250, 300 quid.
Yeah, the point I was going to... I think it's worth a bit more than that, actually.
Right, okay.
The point I was going to get to was not in terms of buying stuff for investment, more that, especially if you buy used pedals, I buy quite a lot of used pedals, and you never lose any money on them. Even more so, my board is changing literally all the time. So once you get to like 10 or 20 pedals or 20 or 30 pedals, you can't have them all on one board. Well, you can, but you might only have 5 or 6 pedals on your board. What I love about single sound pedals is that you can just swap that one out for that one. And just swap a couple of pedals out and get a different texture and a different flavour.
Yeah.
Whereas, and you can do all that in the HX Stomp as well, of course, because you can just select a different model. But I don't know, I think there's something aesthetically valuable about... And don't even get us started on the whole analog digital thing, because the internet hates me for it.
HRGL Funksy, I can't remember, it says, please share your opinion about the Analog Man King of Tone. I got mine after 2.5 years wait. I can't be objective because I'm deeply in love. Still love mine. It's still wonderful. It's an amazing pedal. We've used it like consistently for the first year in the show. It's gone back on my board. Alistair says, have you found any non-Fender pickups that do a good job of getting the Big Dipper Mayer scoop sound? It's about so much more than pickups, I would say, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this guitar has Big Dippers in it.
Thank you, Howard Schreiber, by the way.
I think this John Mayer signature Strat has
Big Dippers.
Big Dippers in
What's
it.
a Big Dipper?
It's
big
supposedly
dipper.
a mid scoop. But here's the weird thing about John Mayer, right? So there he is with his scoopy mid sound.
Right.
Or his scoopy pickups. What does he plug into? A 2-rock or a Dumble.
Right.
Usually with a Klon or something similar, or a TS10, all of which has a massive mid peak. So I've never quite got the Big Dipper thing with John's tone.
Okay.
I don't hear it as massively mid scoopy. I just think any nice vintage Strat gets a bloody gets an amazing John Mayer sound.
Yeah. So,
I mean, the guitar that sounds most like John Mayer out of my 5 Strats there is the 61.
Okay. Jordan Zaletta says, would love to see a show on stacking overdrives post-fuzz without losing all the dynamics. I've been enamored with the incredible difference in texture you achieve with ODs placed post-fuzz face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've done quite a number of shows in that, but yeah, it's always interesting, that stuff. It's always really interesting.
It's really about if the front end of your amp can take it. And so that it doesn't really smash the amp too much, so that you retain just enough.
Sure.
Personally, I love a Klon type after fuzz. I just
more specifically, you love that Klon.
Yeah, but you know what? The Ryra sounds just as good as
it does. The Ryra's amazing.
Yeah. So please don't anybody think I'm being a Klon snob. I didn't pay crazy money for it. I happened upon it in a good deal, and so yeah.
Jacob Howell says, just got a BD2 Wazacraft.
Nice.
And the SD1. The BD2 sounded amazing. SD1 sounded harsh. Your tones at Boss HQ were ace. I use an AC15C1. Merry Christmas from Adelaide, Australia.
Merry Christmas to Adelaide, Australia.
Christmas. Randy Wilcox says, Merry Christmas, gents. Sorry I won't see you at NAMM. Mick, give my regards to Catherine. Have you seen my purple Super Kraken?
I have seen
it's a high gain honorary.
I saw it on Instagram.
We won't be at NAMM this year. Well, I won't be at Winter NAMM this year. We might be going to Summer NAMM.
Yeah.
I'm desperate to go to Summer NAMM because I want to go to where is it? Nashville. Yeah. And I want to do a country music special. I want to do a country guitar special. That'd be amazing.
Nice.
Because I think there's obviously it's, you know, in what you play, but I listen to those country guys doing what they do, and it continuously blows my mind. And some of the sounds they get I'd love to go and sit down with some of those guys.
It's really interesting now as well. I mean, I was listening to Miranda Lambert's new album a couple of weeks ago, and there's so like it's so far from country now.
Right.
So it's
right.
That sort of commercial country is in a really interesting place. It's rock, really. I don't know.
Reckless Toboggan says, Dan, quickly back to pickups. What's in red right now? So I haven't changed red for years. It's got the original custom shop bridge pickup in it, and the neck pickup is a replacement because I was very silly one night and tried to take the cover off the pickup that came in it, which was a tall, I can't even remember. But anyway, I put in from Don Mayer. It was from a set from a Telly Super Sport. I'll have to pull it out and have a look. I don't want to touch it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's the trouble with that guitar.
It's perfect. I don't want to touch it, but it is a Don Mayer pickup of some description.
Although this guitar has upset your relationship with red a little bit, hasn't it?
It has indeed. It has indeed.
Dan's borrowing a 65 Telly off a friend of ours, off Pete Lewis, and you're quite taken with the beast, aren't you?
I'm besotted. I'm yeah. That's it. It's magic. I'm trying to work out a deal because I've connected with that guitar, but I've got to be really careful because if I can't work out a deal,
you can't. Yeah.
You know, if I get too attached to it, it will break me.
I've started to think like that about the Strat, but
Yeah.
you know, it's like, oh god, the more you get attached to it, and then one day it's going to have to go back. It's like,
Ryan Light says, I bought a Morgan MVP 23 because of Mick and would love to see him play it again on another show. Play more Morgans. We've got
got the Dual 20 over there, which we need
great.
to use more. I really, really like the MVP 23. I think it's their favourite amp.
Right.
I love the PR12 Josh Smith version as well.
Yes.
That was killer.
Amazing. Thank you, Jesse Bruce. Very kind. Dan's in trouble. Yeah, you better believe it. That's the problem with Tellys. You pick it up and you've just got to play, says Sean McCrew. Absolutely.
Especially that.
Hey, guys, what are your top 3 favourite amp mics? Dynamic versus ribbon. Opinions. Thanks a lot. Can you do it quickly? E906?
My favourite amp mic at the moment is the Sontronics Delta 2 ribbon. I would say it's up there with the Royal 121.
It's killer.
As really spectacularly good. What I like about that is it's phantom powered. It can take crazy SPL. And for long-term viewers might remember us going through all kinds of dual miking setups using combination of a 906 or a Neumann TLM 102, blah, 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 you know, going to quite lengths to... We just stick that right in front of the cone and it works great every single time. So that's number 1. Number 2 is probably Royal 121.
Yeah.
You can't discount the Shure SM57.
No.
Which is just an absolute all-rounder, completely trustworthy. Sennheiser 421 I'm going to knock in there as my wild card.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Brent Mason, Nashville, done. Yep. Well, we're going to try. All right, we're going to try.
Brent Mason.
Oh,
that'd be amazing. That'd be absolutely amazing.
Cone KT Live says, I am wondering why all analog pedals I use, especially modulations, are noisy to some extent. Is it possible to make less noisy analog pedals? Even high-end analog mod pedals are noisy.
One reason they're noisy is because they don't filter off all the high end.
Yeah.
In some cases.
And a lot of the, I remember when like years ago, and this is the extreme, I got my GP8, my Roland GP8, and it was really quiet, but then I turned the noise filter off and it was, so a lot of those things a lot of the digital stuff is filtered. And if you play a chord and let it sustain, at the end of the sustain, you'll hear a lot of that noise. And then once you've once the note finishes, it sort of puts the noise suppressor back on. Boy,
I bought it. What you'll see in Friday's show, if you watch Friday's show, is I bought a second-hand modulation device to feature in my inexpensive pedal board, and it's the noisiest pedal I've ever owned. However, were you to plug in a Analog Man modded version of that, it wouldn't be noisy. So it really is all about how beautifully the thing is made.
Yep, absolutely. Volker Linzer, I love the gain sound of my Silver Jubilee. Amazing amplifier. Do you think you'll ever talk about amp gain as part of the signal chain and effects loop? I mean, yeah, we do talk about amp gain often.
But we are not gainy amp users.
No.
Yeah, that would be a really good show, actually.
Yeah.
Because that whole nightmare you get into if you run your amp gainy and then the problems that creates for the effects loop. Or indeed the advantages that an effects loop can give you over effects in the front is a really interesting area because there's a whole different set of problems in it. Yeah, if you want to do that.
Jesse Bruce says, Dan, do you have any experience with Jansen Holden gun amps when living in Oz? Any favourite old Oz New Zealand made amps? Any you'd like to have? Wow. There was, oh man, I wish I could remember his name.
Bruce?
Brucey.
Davo?
Stevo! Okay. There was an amp manufacturer, I don't know if he's still there, it was a long time ago. And when I was living, so this guy was on there's a stretch that goes down to Bondi Beach. And you've got Guitar Crazy and Coogee, and then there's another one over the other side. There's a gentleman that used to make these handmade MIDI controlled channel switching valve amplifiers in a rack form. And man, they used to sound awesome, and I cannot remember the name of them. But I heard a couple of guys using them, and they were fantastic. I mean, crazy expensive, but beautiful sounding things. It's been a long time. So I came to England in 2002 and haven't lived back in Australia since then. So I'm not au fait with all of the new Australian manufacturers, of which there are many. So I'll have to go back and reacquaint myself.
Nick Gaultier. Hey guys, what would be the best pedal option for a first-time fuzz user? Hello from Ottawa, Canada. That's really tough.
Really tough.
You have to buy 3, unfortunately.
Yeah. If you've never tried a fuzz before, but you want to have a go, like I thought the Wampler Velvet Fuzz was really good because it's sort of cross between a fuzz and a distortion. You could go fuzzy, but you didn't have to go completely square wave. The best thing to do, all right, you want to buy a fuzz, take your guitar, and you probably can't take your amplifier, but go to a store that sells fuzz pedals and plug into a guitar to an amplifier that's like yours and try a bunch out.
Yeah.
It's so dependent on the player and on the guitar.
They're so different, aren't they?
They're so different. Like fuzz pedals for me are the tweakiest.
Yeah.
You change because they're such simple things. You just change not even the component value, but the component type of one of those components in there, and you have a different animal.
I have at least 6 fuzz face types from. Well, there's 4 on the shelf there, so I must have at least 10 fuzz face types, and they all sound radically different.
Yeah, radically different.
And then that's even before you get into talking about things like big muffs and tone benders.
Yeah.
But if you
it's a whole world.
If you just buy a standard fuzz face, a standard tone bender, and a standard big muff used on eBay, you'll be in for I don't know $300 or something, which is a lot of money. It's a lot of money, but you can always sell them again. So that's
great.
Yeah. Or reverb.com, eBay. Airfire says, do you think that a beginner starting on a Telecaster is a good idea?
Yes, the best idea. Best idea.
Do you think it would be better to go something like a Les Paul for easing into tone?
I'll tell you why I like a Telecaster, all right? And why I wish I'd started on a Telecaster. I started on gems and all that stuff. And when I eventually ended up on a Telecaster, I didn't have any vibrato. So I love the idea of starting on a simple guitar that's locked down here, so to develop...
To get a note out.
Just to develop a sense of touch. Those other guitars, I mean, they're so much fun to play. You know, they're brilliant. But if you really want to develop any sort of musicality, if you start on a simple instrument before you get into all this stuff and get your... Did you start on a Strat?
SG.
Start on SG. There you go.
Copy.
Right.
But as soon as I could get rid of that, I had a Strat style guitar.
Right.
Yeah, that was my first guitar that I.
But you developed a bit on the SG first.
Really bonded. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So Telecaster is a fantastic choice for that. Also, I mean, Les Paul is also great. Yeah. Play them both, see which one you like, but I would say to start out, Telecaster, brilliant.
Yeah, I think you should play the guitar that you like the look of the best.
That's nice.
Because when you look at it, you'll want to play it.
Yeah, it's great.
You just it doesn't matter what it is. You just got to want to play it.
Yeah.
So, dare we invoke the 3 rules of buying a guitar? What it looks like, what it looks like, and what it looks like.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yep.
BV Ninja, Mick. Question, I love my SP compressor before my drive and my EP booster after drive. Seems to tame the tone more like a Dumble-ish sound. Can you help explain this? I can, as it goes, because a Dumble overdrive special is quite a compressed overdrive sound. There's a lot of gain happening there, and it does sound quite compressy to me. So I think having that compressor before your drive evens out the notes into the drive, and then the booster you've got after that boosts it back up again. So yeah, I think that makes it would be worth trying it after as well. Trying the compressor after, because I think that can do a similar. Yeah, it's a different thing.
You have and you use the compressor differently when it's after, but yeah, it's definitely a thing.
Yeah. Somebody was asking here about. Could we do valve preamps into solid state power sections? It's here somewhere. I apologise. I've lost where we were in the feed, but we can. Dan and I, despite many times trying, we had the Orange Pedal Baby most recently and a couple of other things. We don't love it, do we?
No.
Let's be honest. We're so fortunate to have really nice valve amps to play into, and there's just something about the response you get from that.
I told you I had an amazing conversation with Tom from UA.
Did you?
About all that stuff.
Did you?
And I mean, Tom, man, boy, that guy, he knows his stuff. He's amazing. And it was fascinating just talking about valves and what they do to the very front edge of the waveform and how it's just almost, arguably impossible to replicate. There is when you get to that point where you've playing through all these lovely valve amplifiers and all that other stuff is really great and really convenient and really light and all, but there's a compromise there.
Yeah,
there just is.
Yeah. Well, let's be more specific. That we're used to playing that sound, so it feels like a compromise for us, but it might not be a compromise for other people. No,
because it'll be appropriate.
Yeah.
In a certain situation.
The question I just answered we just answered on the SP compressor and all of that was actually from Rick Romanelli, not from BV Ninja. So apologies for that, Rick. Trying to read and talk at the same time. Cal Mac, Mick, do you miss the moustache? I kind of do. It's really weird. I felt empowered by it. There was another one here. Oisin O'Grady again. Are you guys as passionate about music equipment for listening to music as you are about
Interesting.
guitar? Do you listen to Spotify, CD, vinyl, etc.?
We have a vinyl player in the office that we put on.
Yeah.
You put on an old ZZ Top album the other day, and I walked in and I just went, and it sounded mega. It was so good.
I would like to be, when I'm at home cooking and like the extractor fans go in and the pans are frying, I smack my phone Bluetooth through the little speaker I've got in the kitchen, because at that point it doesn't matter. When I'm listening to music, it's got to be a CD or vinyl.
Right.
Because you just lose half of it.
See, I absolutely, I do.
If it's well mastered vinyl, that is.
Sure. I listen to music generally in two places at home. Through my little Bose stereo, which sounds really good. Generally with, I got Apple Music. I was really hesitant, but I must say I've listened to more music since getting Apple Music than I did previously.
Yes.
Because I'm discovering new music, which has been really great.
I've bought more music since having Apple Music, because I listen to it and then I'll buy the record.
Yeah. And that's really great. And I've got a nice stereo in the car, and my car has a CD player in it. So
retro, man.
It's retro, but far out. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Really wonderful.
It's like that when you Bluetooth your phone to the car stereo. It's like, there's at least 2 extra reverbs there that aren't there anymore. And
yeah.
Do you remember the other day we put on so Doyle Bramall's, I'm a Doyle Bramall obsessive. I love Doyle Bramall. I nearly changed my name to Moyle Bumhole. But we put on Rich Man, the vinyl, and we put it on concurrently with the CD, and we switched between the two of them.
Yeah.
And I tell you, the vinyl sounds better, that record, to me. And
it's made for vinyl, that album, though, isn't it?
It feels like it, yeah. Or the master is particularly good. But I did it with Grace by Jeff Buckley as well and preferred the CD.
Right, wow.
Yeah. So, don't know how that works. Brad R. Thank you, Brad. Hey, guys. Welcome to my super chat. Brad here. Dan, where do you run your HC30's tone click knob and power setting? Remind me of the speakers, greenback. So, where do you run the...
I have it wide open. I have it all the way, generally.
The most bassy setting, yeah?
Yeah. Or maybe one back.
Oh,
there we go.
One back from the most bassy setting.
Yep. Actually, that's the way I ran it on the AC30 as well. One back from the most bassy setting.
Yeah.
And as loud as I can possibly get away with.
Yeah, but you use the master volume pool, don't you?
I do, because I like the front end gain.
Yeah.
A little bit of it.
It's one of the only amps I have ever heard with a pool master volume that sounds almost as good.
Just great.
It really kills most amps, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But
yeah,
works in great. And yes, they are greenbacks in that cabinet at the moment. Yeah.
Magic amplifier.
Jose Benito Martinez Jr. Why say vinyl, not records? Because I would say record for any recording. So
sure.
I would say a record to me is an album.
We've made a record.
Yeah.
Here it is on CD form.
I would say vinyl to be specific.
Do you have a mini disc player?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you like ADAT?
I'd like more than one DAT, please. Ossie Turunen. As I am not able to play electric guitar at volume, acoustic guitar tones have been inspiring me more and more. John Smith episode opened my eyes.
Oh, boy. That guy.
Any other octave pedals that do that John Smith bass thing? Tell you what is interesting is that pickup, the Submarine, which is a mate of Simon's.
Really?
Would you believe that? So that's one way to do it. But yeah, in order to do what John does with the octave, you need to split the signal somewhere and make sure that only certain frequencies go to the octave pedal.
Well, the OC3 actually splits the signal. You can split in it, and one send goes out and just plays the bass notes. It's a really clever thing. I'm not convinced by that pedal, though, I must say. It's not tracking issues.
It's wobbly, isn't it?
It is. And I think you need a certain sort of pickup to help that thing. I think so John was using an old Diamond.
The piezo piezo pickup is driving the octave.
Oh, is it? Okay.
You need that strength of signal.
Yeah.
Paul Harmer, I've given up listening to pedals in isolation. Everything just sounds so different, either in a band or in a mix. Yeah, it really does.
Absolutely.
But what do? You have to try them out somewhere.
You know what you can do? I did this a while ago. and it is effective, but it's annoying. Get some white noise.
Oh,
Go
right.
onto YouTube and just Google white noise, and there's loads of different sort of white noise, and listen to a if you want to listen to a pedal, how it's going to sound in the dense
interesting
thing of a thing. Listen to it in relation to white noise.
I feel a concept album coming on.
Yeah.
Tom Hand, what are the chances of you guys meeting up with Andy Martin again and trying out his Marshall Major? I'd love to hear one of those recorded in the modern day and for you guys to debate it. The chances of us doing it with Andy is pretty low because he's in Portland, Oregon, and that's where his Major is. But I would love to do that. I've only ever played one Marshall Major, and it was a religious experience.
200 watts?
Yeah. But done still with 4 tubes, so it's 4 KT88s, is it maybe?
Oh, okay.
Running at like 800 volts plate voltage.
Far out.
Is really talk about dynamics. Wow. When you run I've had this explained to me by various amp people. When you run the plate voltage that high, the amount of dynamic you can get off the guitar itself is colossal. So I would love to get a Major.
Sure.
Stevie Ray used to use one for his clean tone.
Really?
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah. Peter Jessup, yep, I agree. Pink noise does make more sense, which is different from white noise, apparently. I don't know what the difference is, but Nigel Morrow, any suggestions for Strat pickups? Resurrecting my first ever made in Japan Squire from the 90s and need some help. Oh, Nigel. It's impossible.
It is impossible.
Everyone makes good pickups,
Yep.
and despite what the internet says, this set of pickups will sound different in that guitar and that guitar and that guitar. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to recommend a set as such. I've gone for the super. What I'm enjoying most are the most vintage type possible at the moment. So all the Mark Foley pickups.
Ron Ellis.
I hear Ron Ellis is really super vintage ones, and there are various others, you know. The other thing is, as well, in different scenarios, so those pickups that are in blue, my blue Strat, Seymour Duncan Antiquities, a great full-sounding, mid-rangey Strat pickup. You know, if you play at low volume, depending on the other gear you use, they can be a very satisfying pickup. But what I'm finding is that the articulacy of the true vintage pickup, which can sound really wiry and flat and lifeless at low volume, starts to make sense at crushing volume.
Yeah.
Because they just seem to have this headroom and dynamic and all of these things.
So interesting.
Which brings out musicality in the guitar in a way that doesn't happen at low volume. So I wouldn't want to recommend any pickups, unfortunately. Jonathan Duffett, so much for the Stealth D&M drive. Hi, Johnny. What about Movember D&M with facial hair difference in your icons? Johnny came in to do a show with us many moons ago with a bunch of vintage amps. So hi, Johnny. I'm pleased you're watching, and I hope your amp collection is safe and warm. Lemon Holiday Prod. Wow, that sounds interesting. Hey guys, what are your opinions about Egnator amps? I have a Tweaker 15 combo, and it's a great alternative to a Blues Junior and AC15. Ever tried them out?
No, I haven't.
I played a few when I was on Guitarist magazine and liked them a lot. Bruce Egnator's got a really amazing history in amp design over the years. So, yeah. Only played a few transistor amps, says David Meegans. What valve amp is a good one to begin with? Sub 500 if possible.
Blues Junior.
Fender Blues Junior, Vox AC15. They might not be quite under 500, but you could buy a used one maybe. What else is good around that price? Yeah, it's a tough area, price point, that, because the things you have to skimp on to get an amp out for $500 and make money on it is
substantial.
And it is substantial. Yeah.
Blues Junior, AC15 second hand. Would you get? I don't know if you get a Hot Rod Deluxe for that second hand. Would you?
Yeah, second hand, easy peasy.
Yeah, there you go. Hot Rod Deluxe, second hand
or thereabouts.
Go and do that. you'd be very happy.
Does Orcsend wants to know, how's your energy level since the vegan experiment?
Fantastic.
Yeah, are you still doing it?
Absolutely.
Good for you,
It's
man.
been great. I mean, I am... The interesting thing is because I haven't been able to exercise because of my knee, and so I thought I'd be hitting real lows, but I haven't. It's been... I've been sleeping really well. Great. Yeah, really good. I made the best like veggie pasta. I'm going to make it again this week. But just like crazy amounts of veggies. The kids loved it as well.
Really?
Yeah, really. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying it. I thought it was going to be challenging because I really like food and I've always loved meat. But I'm finding it like no issues at all. And whenever we go out to eat, all the restaurants cater for that now, which has been really interesting. So yes,
yeah,
really good.
It's really much more possible to eat veggie and vegan food.
Yeah, great.
Than it used to be. Where are we? God, blimey, O'Reilly. We should say we're very sorry that we can't answer every single comment.
Yeah.
There are so many coming in. Ossie Turin. Sorry, we've already answered one from you, but again, I'll start so finish. On the topic of acoustics, any new acoustic shows coming this year? I know they aren't your most viewed episodes, but have been massive inspiration from me.
Well, there will be. I don't know if it's going to be finished this year, but the vlog on the building of my acoustic guitar.
Oh, no way. That's happening, is it?
That's happening. But that'll probably won't be finished this year. I think it'll be finished next year.
Yeah. Daryl, as for other acoustic content, yeah, maybe. They're really poorly watched, unfortunately. So maybe if it's relevant and it's something that's happening in our lives, then we'll do it, which is how TPS works.
Yeah.
Al Gorham, hi Al, talking amp settings. Mick, when you're on a Hot Rod Deluxe, where are the chicken heads pointing? I'm betted around 5.5, but is that madness? I rarely get the master volume on a Hot Rod over 3.
Right.
Or the volume in the... I don't very rarely use the overdrive channel, but yeah, rarely go beyond that because it starts breaking up after that.
Sure.
Which I don't love.
Yeah.
Tend to scoop a bit of the mid out, run the bass kind of 4, maybe the treble 6, bit of presence maybe, depending on what we're using with. That said, I will just tell a story about Joe Bonamassa. I made a video with Joe Bonamassa once at John Henry's in London, and he was coming in to do a lesson for Guitarist magazine. I was like, what amp do you want? He said, Hot Rod DeVille will be fine. I'm like, are you on drugs? Because he's such a...
tone monster.
Yeah, and like a really
aficionado.
Driving Carolan Dumble Tweed, that's Joe's world. Marshalls, obviously. And he proceeded to plug a really nice Les Paul into the drive channel of a Hot Rod Deluxe and sound godlike. Like it sounded like a Plexi. I was like, how do you do that? And he's like, and he had loads of gain on, he had the volume up, and he just turned his guitar down a bit.
Wow.
And it was just a heavenly sound. So anytime anyone says the drive channels in those amps sound like pants, I always think about that.
You've been close to him when he's playing, right?
Yeah.
Does he pick hard or quite light?
Yeah, not super light.
Okay.
Yeah,
so he digs in.
He hits the guitar, but he doesn't hit it like Philip Sace hits it.
Okay, right.
Yeah, from Steve Urian.
Does anyone hit it like Philip Sace hits it?
Well,
I'd love to get him on the show.
E flat and 9s. So he's not hitting it that hard.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Great technique.
Yeah, amazing.
Great technique. Domenico Lanzo. Actually, 6:30, we should think about wrapping this up.
Mm-hmm.
Domenico Lanzo, what do you think of old pre-2000 American vintage series Strats and Tellys? Well, I like
pre-2000 because this is pre-2000.
I like them because that's basically what Blue is. They changed when did they change? They changed in the late 90s, and then they changed in 2012, I think.
Right.
So
thin skin, is that what?
That was an extra. That was kind of like a special runs and things.
Okay.
But I love those guitars. I think they're fantastic value for money used. That's what the Blue Strat is. I know loads of people that have got them. Yeah. I think any of the vintage reissue Fenders have been pretty good. American ones, if they're nitro finished. yeah, I think you can hammer that guitar and make it work for you.
Sure.
Yeah. Peter Jessup, there are loads of cheap valve amps on eBay. Yes, there are.
Loads of cheap 4x12s as well.
Yeah, as you will find out on Friday. Jake Sabinski, how do you guys feel about Magnetones? I see them everywhere now. I'd like to get a new one.
Because the brand's been revived.
Yeah, that vintage one we played at ATV Guitars was crazy good.
What a sound.
Yeah. Ruslan Shagis Sultanov. I hope that's your real name. Dan, we need to see more of the Ed O'Brien Strat with a sustainer. It would be cool to see how the harmonic setting interacts with boosts and low gain drives.
Sure. Yeah, can do.
Right.
Got a text from Ed last night, actually.
Did you?
Yeah,
how cool is that?
Just the best guy. Because we'd lent him some pedals to try out. His single's just come out, and it's a great film clip with it as well.
Oh yeah,
and so he's going to be on tour soon, doing his thing, which is awesome.
Nice. Right, let's. Okay. Yeah, Jesus86 says acoustic and electric in a mix would be a good topic. That's a great way to do acoustic guitars.
Okay.
How do we get this acoustic guitar to sit in a band? That is a really good suggestion, Jesus86. So thank you for that. La 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 la. I think pretty much we should call it a day, Daniel.
Okay, lovely.
It's an hour and a half of living. So thank you to everyone who's commented. Apologies if we didn't get to you. We physically can't see them. They come in so fast, so we've done our best.
Yep.
And as this format develops, we'll get better at it. Thank you to everyone who subscribes to That Pedal Show on YouTube.
Thank you so much.
Or interacts with us in any other way. You guys make it possible, and we are immensely grateful. So thank you. Hang on, Catherine's coming in.
And as if by magic.
Say thanks to BZ.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Catherine has to remind us these things. We want to say thanks to BV for moderating.
Yes, thank you, BV.
Great job. Thank you so much. That is a really important job for us because, there are idiots out there, unfortunately.
There are indeed.
And indeed not idiots who need to be pushed up the queue a bit. So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks to everyone that super chatted as well, guys. Thank you so much. Massive thank you to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed themselves a t-shirt or strings or D&M drives and all that sort of stuff for Christmas. Christmas, Mick. I won't be here next week because I'm picking up my mum from the airport who's flying over for Christmas.
Ah, from Australia.
From Australia.
Yes, my mother-in-law is here at the moment.
Is she?
Yes, flew in from Greece. We're so cosmopolitan, don't we?
We are.
Yeah.
So if I guess we won't see you before Christmas. So have a fantastic Christmas. 'Tis the season of giving.
Or holiday period for everyone in the US, where Christmas is a naughty word. But anyway, there we go. Whatever you want to call it, it's all good with me.
Yeah, I'm good with Christmas. It's lovely.
Yeah, I don't mind. Whatever. I just get a few days off work. Yes.
Brilliant. Cheers, guys. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic holiday season, and we will see you soon.
Don't miss Friday's show.
Don't miss it. It's going to be awesome.
Cracker.